Nothing like another day on a fucking ocean, catching shit-ass fucking walleye to beat the Christ out of ya. I better get on my goddamn boathouse to rest my dogs barking like a motherfucker. Sure glad my bitch-tit mother and asshole-eating father raised me to cuss like a sailor from fucking birth. Ain't no more colorful way to speak. Hey, stranger, couldn't find a more hell of a beautiful night than this. Ain't that right, person of indeterminate gender even from a distance this goddamn close? Hey, great fucking throw there, stranger. I ain't seen a better ass paper airplane since the goddamn 3rd grade. What's that, a message? For me? Well, I do say so. Do you kiss your mother with that mouth? Oh, it's been a fucking minute, that's for sure. Of course, my mother's health ain't been the same since she got the cut-sucking emphysema. Careful! That's a fucking knife! And I don't know your bitch ass from Adam! Oh, you fucking stabbed me! Oh, God, you goddamn asshole! Oh, my bum leg! Oh, my good heart! Hey, upon further fucking look, I do know you! Ah!
It's time for Detective Daly, Case Vulture. Sometimes all you have to do is wait for the cops to screw the pooch or let the trail go like the habitat of a sub-zero fridge. Cold. That's when I come in. I'm Detective Daly, and this is the case of the swearing sailor. It's not every day a man gets up in time to see the sunrise. But he has a significant advantage if he doesn't go to sleep at all. You know how they say never go to bed angry? Well, I'm exhausted. I got a pounding in my head, a ringing in my ears, and some kind of dry skin rash on my shins. Could be eczema. I don't know. I could never hack dermatology school. Point is, I'm up, but certainly not Adam. Not yet.
Hello, Detective Daly.
I said I wasn't Adam. Not yet.
But you didn't say anything.
I should really get a secretary. Then maybe my monologues can become dialogues and I could stop repeating myself. Come in. You know, I should really get a secretary. Then maybe my monologues can become dialogues and I could stop repeating myself.
That's a novel idea.
No, a novel idea is The Grapes of Wrath meets War of the Worlds. I call it Wrath of Grapes, War World.
Sounds like a mouthful. Not that I would know anything about that.
Did you wink when you said that? I can't tell behind your very opaque sunglasses you're wearing indoors.
Yes, I was winking, acting wryer than bread. What of it?
Hey, I remember it as you walking into my office.
I've been difficult, a schemer, a real ball-buster shrouded in mystery. But doesn't that make me all the more alluring to you, Detective?
On paper? No, that's a terrible sell. But being here, seeing you in this shadow, there's something about this that seems par for the course.
Never been much for golf, but I'm always up for games.
How about we quit while we're ahead and you just tell me why you came here?
I'm afraid it's my father.
Your father?
Yes, he owns the harbor. Perhaps you've heard of him.
Your father is Pearl's Harbor?
Yes.
Of the unsinkable, impenetrable Pearl's Harbor?
Of course. To think that anyone of any nation under orders or duress would conduct any sort of attack on Pearl's Harbor is, well, it's unthinkable. Until last month, that is.
I heard about that. Murder on the docks.
It's been weeks, and so far nothing. Police have shut down the harbor. Nothing going in or out. Not even those novelty swan paddle boats you see in movies sometimes.
Yeah, I know the ones.
It's terrible. Father's going mad. I've taken up chain smoking and developed a wild sachet when I walk, and they're still no closer to finding whoever did this.
I'm guessing you'd like me to take a poke around.
Wouldn't mind a wine and dine first, but yeah, given this setup, me wearing this lipstick and a skirt this height, I'd say that's where we're headed.
It was only then that I finally saw what might have been obvious to some men. This person talking to me was a lady. A gorgeous lady with a gorgeous look to her. I didn't quite get it until she pointed her own features out to me, but once she did, it hit me like a major league pitcher striking a match. hot and fast. I guess you'd wonder why a PI like me, a man whose livelihood depends solely on his ability to perceive things, was so slow to get this. To which I'd say, sometimes I need things pointed out to me. Anyway, I took the case.
Have you heard of crosswords? It's a word clue game you can play from your home newspaper. I couldn't tell you what I did with my day waiting for my Abner to come home from work in the coal mines, but now the hours just fly by, filling in the consonant and vowels of the day's puzzle. Simply knock on the bathroom door after your husband's first hour inside and ask to borrow the lifestyle section. If he doesn't chase you out bare-assed, you're halfway home. Now, the most important thing, be sure to press lightly with your pencil so it's easier to erase after you finish the crossword. After all, we can't have Abner knowing you can read and write. Crosswords. Just a little secret from my home to yours.
After a quick soak in some fine scotch, I got myself down to the harbor. Luckily, my driver's license got revoked and I only hit 3 children and a Labrador on my bike. Jeez, that could have been ugly. But scoping around the docks with all the fishermen and gutted sea life, I couldn't help but notice something smelled incongruous. The big boss man must have smelled it too, because Pearl's Harbor himself met me on the docks.
Detective Daly, you must be the gumshoe my daughter spoke to.
Yes, I am, and normally I wouldn't do this, but no, sorry, I have to speak up. I'll ask you not to use the G word. It's considered a slur in my field.
Gumshoe is a slur?
Sir, I'm beginning to feel provoked.
I'm sorry. I just don't know what the rules are. Can we start again? I feel like we got off on the wrong foot.
Sure. On the count of 3, let's hop onto our other foot and shake hands again. 1,
2...
Ah, damn it. Sorry, I just realized I have gum on my boot. Guess you could call me a real Gumbyfoot.
Sorry about that, Gumby. We try to keep our harbor spick and span, but once the chum, blood, seasickness, and mercury poisoning and fish bones come into play, it can be a real sty.
Not to mention the murder.
Yes, we'd really just like all of this to go away. I've got droves of hungry linemen and stevedores waiting on a paycheck.
Well, I'd like to help you get your boys back to work, but I'm not seeing much here to go off of.
Yes, well, the police already swept through about a dozen times.
You'd think it'd be cleaner then.
Look, I said I'm sorry about the gum, all right? I don't even touch the stuff.
Relax, Arbor. I'm not giving you the 3rd degree. Not yet. So let's just skip to me asking you, is there anything you didn't share with the police that you'd like to tell me?
Okay, I'm gonna move in real close and whisper something. But you've gotta promise to laugh like a little schoolgirl afterwards, so the longshoremen just think we're gossiping.
I've done a lot more for a lot less. As seaside trade magnate, Pearl's Harbor whispered the most salacious slice of news in my ear yet. I tried to think up my giddiest laugh without giving away the fact that it was also my real laugh.
So, you understand my dilemma?
Not really. I was thinking up gossip and definitely not uttering my genuine laugh.
I said the mob owns the dock. It's my name on the sign, but I'm just a stooge, all right? They got a hold of every boat and shipment running out of the docks. Nothing happens around here without them knowing about it. So if you want to know who killed that sailor, I'd put every cent on Silas Cotton having something to do with it.
Silas Cotton. I should have known. You don't terror and extort the good people without making a name for yourself. Well, I guess you could, but people would just call you asshole. No, Silas Cotton was a different colored horse altogether, and the plot of this case was about to do what a soda jerk does to a shake. Thicken.
If you're enjoying this program, please consider donating to the PBS family so they can keep bringing you quality content like Detective Daly, Case Vulture. No jokes here. PBS is an excellent outlet for all ages to discover culture and education of the world. Visit pbs.org to make a donation or learn more.
Among holding protection rackets over most mom and pop shops in town, and apparently running the harbor, Silas Cotton's gang operated the hottest casino around. Word has it, you could put up the car, your house, hell, even the kids. Cotton would wear a sucker down until he was nothing but a Tootsie Center. Even bigger word had it he hated cops so much he could suss them out a mile away. Now I'm no cop, but in his eyes I'd be close enough. If I was going to knock on his door, I needed to get the smell of bacon off me and do the least cop thing possible. I found some local minorities and went out of my way to see they were both safe and comfortable in their neighborhood. Then I made sure to commit their names to memory, so we'd have an open line of communication for the future. After that, I looked just about as much a cop as Al Capone.
You're looking for something, Slim.
Why, thanks, my man. You're quite tall yourself.
What's that supposed to mean?
You could probably play guard in a rec league.
Cool. Are you looking for the boss?
Like you read about it. I couldn't believe my eyes. Sure, Silas Cotton was there with the appropriate amount of goons for the size of his operation, but he was smoking stogies and playing grab-ass with none other than the chief of police, George Puck, and his appropriate amount of sycophant troopers. The place was smokier than a hog roast and stunk of not just pork, but rat.
Oh, you're too much, Cotton.
I got 1 million of them, Puck. 1 million of them.
Sorry. Little dense in here.
Harris Daly, you got a lot of damn nerve just waltzing in here. You come to people what a real badge looks like?
Not particularly, but if you're offering, I could take a glance.
Yeah, right. Like I'm just gonna whip it out for you.
Bet you're used to hearing that.
I'd be lying to say that didn't hit a nerve. And if it wasn't for me squeezing my own head and shouting, "It's not real, it's not real," to keep me from crying, I would have looked like a real jackass. But I kept my cool and got right down to business. Decent crack, Cotton. You ought to work the nightclubs. In the meantime, you certainly don't owe me anything, but perhaps you'd like to hear what I have to say? Alone?
We could throw him out now, Silas.
No, our man came all the way here. He must have something worth discussing. Plus, I have more jokes to workshop. If this rube can get them, I'm sure any idiot could.
It's a good thing I hadn't let up one bit on my head squeezing. That door guard's congeniality really threw me off from the jockish behavior of these mob punks. I tell you, no matter how hard-nosed a man gets, he'd be a fool to let anyone chop it off.
All right, Guy. You've got your audience of 1. What do you got to say?
Seems we have a mutual friend at the docks. He's run into a little trouble lately in the form of a fisherman bleeding out on his harbor.
Might have caught wind of something like that.
I would hope so, seeing as you're the one running the joint.
Congrats. You got an inside man. I've got about 350. So, where you want to take this?
I'm fine where I stand. Just for the moment, let's say your people did have something to do with this. Why kill 'em right out in the open, making trade slow to a halt? Wouldn't that hit you worse than anybody?
I'd say you're pretty out of your element there, Daly. In fact, you're so in the dark, you ought to call yourself Nightly.
That is when I do most of my work. I'll take it under consideration. You care to elaborate?
I'm guessing you're not up on your mortality rates, but they're pretty fucking high for longshoremen. Just about everything they handle could crush or stab them to death. Then there's seasickness, fevers, tetanus, all in the name of putting cod in the diners. Pretty soon, Pearl's men start throwing around terms like liability, union, and conjugal visits. Maybe 1 or 2 of those sailors needed a reminder of who's really in charge.
But murder?
I didn't say murder. Just said maybe. Like, maybe you ought to get out of here before I start doling out more vaguely personal zingers.
I know a warning shot when I hear one. And that's why I ran out of there, shielding my ears harder than a paranoid corn farmer. I hate to admit it, but Cotton was right. I was in the dark. I didn't know why he was hanging around cops. It was clear Cotton had a motive and means for murder. But if I wanted to be certain, I was going to have to do the work of a diving pool contractor and dig deep. Another night through, another dollar earned. But I don't know who's counting. Hopefully someone with hands. At least one, anyway. As for me, I couldn't wait to make the long trek to my Murphy bed and keep my standing date of problem drinking alone. Here's the... Come on. I can't find this damn light switch. I gotta have a light to find the lights.
It's just above the file cabinet.
Right, thanks. Hey, wait a minute. Miss Harper, how'd you get in here?
I never left.
After this morning? That was 13 hours ago.
Doesn't that seem like sexy obsessive behavior? And definitely not red flag raising obsessive behavior that seems obvious in retrospect. I mean, I just don't feel safe out there. Not anymore.
So you come around here looking for a white knight?
Not a white knight, just a warm body. And what can I say? When I see something I like, I thirst for it.
Well, I'm quite parched myself. Whiskey?
It's pronounced Wendy.
You know, in all the excitement, I guess I forgot to ask.
Ask me what?
Your name? Marriage status? Level of, flexibility?
You're awful saucy.
It's been a long day.
Tell me about it.
Later. Well, it looks like I continue my streak of another sleepless night. Though this kind of restless tossing and turning, I don't mind.
Don't forget that bit when you were upside down.
Yeah, that's a good way to give a man a coronary. But I must say, I didn't hate it. Where do you pick up something like that?
St. Louis.
Asked and answered.
I don't know about you, but I could use some coffee, Detective.
Oh, I might have a cup around. Or two. There are a few things in this world that give me pause. A fancy record player, or a dog offering me a handshake. But none more so than a woman trying to stay for breakfast. You know, I'm not sure how we're fixed for beans. Might be could only make a half pot.
You can relax, Detective. I can't be the first dame to strut into your office and blindside you with the perils of her life, then jump into bed with you the same night.
No, it happens just like that to me every week, but it somehow gets to be a fresh wound each time.
Well, I don't know who told you, but I'm not moving in. I have no interest in meeting your mother, and I don't have a ring. I'm here to break hearts and get what I want. I mean, need. For my father, of course.
Well, good, because I'm already married to the job.
Sounds serious.
Locked in for life, baby. Got shared grave plots and a retirement home in Florida already picked out, where I'll be solving, who are my kids again? Mysteries.
We should all be so lucky. You never did tell me about your long day.
You know about Silas Cotton?
Enough. Likes to bring his boys around. They leer.
You didn't want to tell me he's running the show?
I thought Daddy could tell you more. He's in the thick of it every day. With work at a halt, I'm just so terrified they're going to come after him.
I think Cotton's got more to worry about than your father. Sounds like the sailors and dockers have been organizing, making a ruckus.
That's who I'm talking about. The sailors and loaders. They're so vile, and there's no telling what they'll do.
Are you saying that those undereducated, short-tempered, and exploited brutes with the sharp tools and hooks scare you, but the mobsters with their slicked hair, groomed mustaches, well-fed stomachs, and clean-pressed suits don't?
You don't know what it's like down there. You were just a passerby, a tourist. You have no idea what they're capable of.
Everything my brain was telling me was this was a mob hit through and through. My heart was telling me this broad knew and saw things I could never understand myself. And my gut was telling me that I should have gone easy on the whiskey last night, and I had about 40 seconds to get to the toilet. I knew I had to plan my next move carefully so things wouldn't get messy.
Mind if I use your bathroom?
No, go right ahead. At times like this, I wonder if I can even help myself. Oh my.
You're listening to Detective Daly, Case Vulture. Be sure to tune in after the show for Talking Daily, where your favorite players will share behind-the-scenes stories and offer their advice on current social issues plaguing the nation. That's right, the people who are regularly advising to pre-chew your children's food like a bird and hawking you diet nut milk cleanses want to be the voices behind how we can fix racial and economic inequality. And why not? If there are any saints and prophets to follow, it's definitely the people living in the stars above La La Land. Tune in.
After being flushed of everything I ate the last decade, I had a new kind of fire in my belly. The kind that antacids and saltines can't cure. No, The only way I was gonna feel right in my own skin was by finding the truth. But the only way to find it was taking a ferry to the other side of the harbor. A ferry to the other side of the harbor. Okay.
Another peregrination to the offset port, as it were. I tell ye, Chief, you could shine the hull of the Great Potosi with the grease coming from these elbows.
It's much appreciated, Skipper. How long have you been ferrying here?
Aye, it were 20 and a fortnight. I came across the legendary Captain Willisby, who swore he'd never step foot off the coast of Hispaniola. Me being the ignorant scamp I were, I attempted to abscond with his pet goat Philip.
I don't know where it came from. Maybe it was the fog rolling in, his 18th century get-up, or the fact that you could see through his skin in the moonlight. But it began to dawn on me that this skipper might be an apparition, a ghost. Captain Ahab himself. I didn't care, to tell you the truth. I've seen stranger sights in my own mirror. But this dead guy had the gift of gab, and I wasn't interested in a history lecture on this boat tour.
And ever since I've been doing his bidding, taking seafarers and wanderers across the water.
Neat. How would you like to play a quick speed round?
Oh, I'm afraid I'm not too sharp on the buzzer as I used to be.
Just yes or no. Did you know the sailor killed here?
Nay, too many come and go through. If it's not murder, it's scurvy, lockjaw, or the curse of Willisby.
Got it. Remember, we're looking for just yes or no. Do you ever see Silas Cotton or his men around here?
Aye, if it's not them, it's the strange men prowling these waters, pillaging off the cargo, or intimidating the civilians, as it were.
Look, dead guy, I don't know how many times I have to say this, but I don't have the... Wait, what men?
They creep through the twilight, disturbing me beauty rest. But many a night they mince through with their own strange haul. Come the morrow, the water's murky, draws memory of the Spanish Inca Wars. 1,200 men went down that day. Only 2.
You really only have 2 settings, don't you? Never mind. Did you see anything else strange the last few weeks?
Aye, was 2 fortnights past that Harbour Master Pearls sought me and warned me of taking dwellers of the sea. Said it'd be deadly, but not as deadly as the Leviathan which Job forspake. For is not the end of times need fearing, but the moments of hostility and temptation.
Skipper, where is Pearls now?
Sorry, Chief. This be as far as I'm permitted to sail. May you be in heaven a good half-hour past, for the devil knows you're dead.
Skipper! Suddenly, the dense fog became like a wall, and before I knew it, the skipper was sinking into the sea with our rowboat, wearing the face of a man who made friends with death. I was soaked through to my whites, and watched in awe as he disappeared into the abyss of those murky waters. I couldn't help but wonder, did it actually happen? Or was this the delusion of a booze-fueled, sleep-deprived private eye? There was nothing like the musty cold of the bay to sober a man up. Reminded me of a hack joke I once heard. Something about a drunk diver being in the drink. I was in the drink all right, but I don't think any punchline or chaser could make it any more appetizing. Pearls Harbor was keeping secrets even after I showed him my girly laugh. Now I needed to track down that cagey son of a bitch and find out what else he was hiding. Hey, what's going on? You fellas in the line for snow cones? They sure are yummy, but come on, it's not worth all the... Their voices faded to silence. I felt an overwhelming dread and my knees buckled. These longshoremen weren't clamoring and shoving for tasty shaved ice, but shoving, swearing, and in one case spitting over the loss of their divisive trade captain, Pearls Harbor, lying dead on the dock before us. Pearls Harbor, a man, a harbor master, father to a firecracker daughter, meeting his end on a dock he didn't actually own but bore his name. Wish I hadn't called him a son of a bitch in my thoughts just 2 minutes ago, and I really wish I hadn't brought it up again now. But here we are. 2 bodies, the same harbor, and not a single snow cone to be had. It was a day of sore eyes for all involved. Wendy, don't say anything until I've finished. From the moment I saw you, I knew this was someone special. Someone that made me realize I was missing out on the sweeter things in life, making me feel things I didn't think I could feel anymore. Suddenly, I had images of children in my mind, a precocious dog, and one of those flamingo bird toys that tilts down to drink water if you nudge it. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe you're crazy and this is crazy, but sometimes crazy can lead to great things. And I don't think it's a coincidence that... Ah, shit. You know what? This is the wrong speech. Done. Here we go. Wendy, your father's dead. Whew, I didn't think I'd make it through that.
No, I can't believe it.
I know. Just wait until you hear about the phantom captain I saw.
No, it can't be. Are you sure it was him?
Look, lady, I only wish I could be one of those PIs who've seen so many dead bodies they all just run together. We could only pray I come across a transit bus in a volcano, a radium-bombed carnival, or literally any public school in a region with civilian access to military-grade weapons, so the faces all mesh together in a horrific blur. But until then, every corpse is an aberration seared into my memory. Yes, I am sure your father's corpse was the one I saw today, and yes, I am certain he is dead.
Oh, that's horrible. Just horrible.
I have to say, I wasn't expecting this kind of embrace. Sure, she was crying, but it was the kind of sexy kind where she shows you her emotion without getting all wet and snotty on you. Gross. No, this kind of crying told me that Wendy was hurt, and she needed me to make it better.
Oh, Harry, if you can't tell by my sobs and tears that I worked up by the tragic situation and not by my years studying acting, I'll tell you outright. I am so broken and upset by this loss, and you're the only one who can help me.
I know, Wendy. I'm here.
Guess you'd pretty much do anything for me now that you've seen my O face and my wah face.
Well, it is part of the oath I swore.
Good, 'cause I need you to get down with the scummiest of scuzz and most murderous of misers to out who my father's killer is. Even if you yourself don't make it out alive, you have to try, for your own conscience.
Of course. On my life, for whatever it's worth.
So far, at least 2 days plus expenses. But don't sell yourself short, mister.
I like the way you think. Say, Wendy, what's going to happen to the harbor now that your father's gone?
Why, I haven't had but 18 months and 6 days to think about it.
Just another reason you've hooked me. You have an answer for everything.
Listen up, men. It's Buster the Hound Calhoun here to tell you that football is no longer a joke-around game you play at barbecues and your wife's cousin's wedding reception. Introducing the National Football League. That's right. You may have been the shoulder, the foot, the arm of your school that won you a high school sweetheart and a trophy. But because you lacked the brains, ambition, and temperament of a sane person, you didn't go to college and were forced to hang up the boots and hand-me-down jockstrap. Well, I'm here to tell you, you can stop living in the past and start reliving the past. Now on one of our professional teams. The nightmare of daydreaming is over. Quit your day job of probably fixing cars or shoveling shit and get back to things that really matter, like ramming your skull full bore into another man's crotch for a leather ball you can maybe run with or throw or something to get a point or two. That's what Jesus died for. We want you, big guy, whose lungs and tendons are definitely ready to get back on the field. What are you? One of those people with emotions and feelings? Sounds pretty queer to me. Prove that you aren't, and get in that dog pile, son. Show America and the father who never said I love you that you still matter!
I was cold. I was tired. I needed a shower and a shave. My 5 o'clock shadow was so unkempt, it was like the cheese a 4th grader packs for lunch. Stringy. But I couldn't think about that now. If I was going to close this case once and for all, I needed to ride my 6-speed Schwinn into the beast and let myself be swallowed whole into the underbelly of this city. Why, it's the minorities I've befriended. How are you doing, Bernard and Raylene?
About the same.
Well, that's terrible.
You know, just do what you can.
Hey, this'll cheer you up. check it out.
I don't see anything.
It's my bike. I painted every inch of it pitch black, so that way when I'm run over while riding at night, people will know it's 'cause I stand with Blackie.
Oh, you shouldn't have.
That's helpful.
Well, I gotta get over to the casino. You stay safe now.
I wish I could say he means well, but...
It ain't worth it.
That ought to teach you to stay in your lane, you great white dope.
I've heard of boxing matches inside of casinos, but in the back alley? I don't think so. I suddenly felt cool and had trouble seeing because something shady was going on. Say, champ, there's nothing wrong with coming in second even if there's only two of you fighting. Let me give you a hand up. Silas Cotton.
Oh, Daly.
What are you doing getting the shit kicked out of you in your own alleyway?
Fuck off, Daly. I got in some good shots.
Who was that?
I'm not telling you anything.
I know, Silas. I know Pearl's Harbor's dead, and I know there's teams of men dumping in the water. Is it you? Did you kill Pearl's Harbor?
You got it all wrong, Daly. Harbor was our boy. Did everything we said. He was just doing right by his people.
What does that mean?
Harbor knew Puck was dumping in the sea, and it was messing with the fish, you know? Making people sick. He didn't want his men going out on the water.
Wait, Puck? Chief George Puck is dirty in the water?
The one and only. His squad's been dumping in the water for months. We all just look the other way.
Why?
So we don't get killed.
No, I mean, why is he dumping in the water?
I don't know. You'll have to ask him.
I am so happy I ran into you tonight, Cotton. You ought to get your teeth knocked out more often.
Yeah, real match made in heaven.
You want me to help you limp inside?
No, I'm sure my boys will rush out here conveniently all too late to do anything about my getting walloped.
Works for me. I'm sure I'll be by to grill you about a dead or missing woman soon.
Give 'em hell, Daly.
Much like when you come across an Amish family manually raising the sides of a barn, everything was coming together. But as any journalist, politician, and stairway traffic coordinator knows, there are two sides to every story. I could avoid it no longer. If I was going to close this case, I needed to trek into the one area I swore I never would. A place where only the depraved and soulless call home. The City Police Department. Ah! Help! Help! I've been hit! I've been...
I need an intubator here. Some oxygen. Starting chest compressions. Do we have one of those electric pulse shockers? Have those been invented yet? What about a heart monitor? Are you telling me we have to manually hold his pulse until he dies or wakes up? God, how did we manage to save anyone like this?
Daly, it's Chief Puck.
When I opened my eyes, I had to question if I died after all, because I was face to face with the devil himself.
You know you're talking out loud, right?
Yes, I am talking. Live. Ugh.
All right. Looks like you're still out of it. I'll come back later.
To finish the job, Puck?
They'd run you over, you moron. A couple of my boys saw you laid out in the street and called it in.
Were these the same boys you sent to shut up Silas Cotton?
What do you know about it?
I know you've been dumping in the water. Pearl's Harbor didn't like that. Now he's dead. Maybe you had something to do with it.
A lot of leaps in there, Daly. You ought to change your name to Jack Be Nimble.
I'll think about it. Right after you confess.
Confess to what? Think about it, Daly. If I wanted those docks open so badly, why would I cause them to shut down again with another murder?
Because Pearls knew the truth.
Pearl's Harbor was a loon. The only thing we've been dumping in that water is chum and fish heads.
Why?
To catch a great white. How else do you think we're going to get that harbor on the map?
What?
I want a picture of that sucker strung up with me and its maw. Wouldn't that be neat?
You son of a bitch.
What can I say? People want a strong leader with the walls of their city halls lined with the beast they've killed.
God, that's sound logic if I ever heard it. But answer me this. If you didn't kill Pearl's Harbor, and Silas Cotton didn't kill Pearl's Harbor, who did?
Someone that knew him. You don't stab somebody unless you want to see them die up close. And there's this. Killer left a note.
I didn't see a note on him.
It was in his pocket.
Dad, you'll get out now if you know what's good for you.
It's like somebody was starved for Daddy's money. You wouldn't happen to know where that skirt Windy Harbor is, would you?
I was hit by a wave of memories that only now seemed important. especially if you were to string them together in some sort of compilation. In a flash, I yanked the IV and fluid tubes from my body and proceeded to leak like the Dutch boy Dyke. Once I had an overworked and underpaid nurse clean me up, I ran away faster than a bride with cold feet, and all those memories flooded my headspace.
You don't know what it's like down there. The sailors and loaders. They're so vile. You have no idea what they're capable of. If Father's not careful, he'll get what's coming to him. Like murder. Do you know how to get bloodstains out of satin? I'm flying out of here, Harry. Saturday night. After that, no one will see me again. If you try to stop me, I'll run you down with a Model T. Or worse.
How did I miss the one specifically mentioning murder? Or that oddly specific one about the woman I loved leaving town forever? In any event, I had a plane to catch.
Tell me if this sounds familiar. You volunteered to be part of the school bake sale. You made your award-winning German chocolate cake, and when you proudly walked in, ready to make the other moms jealous, that judgmental bitch, Nancy, who has been in charge of everything, scolds you in front of the other moms for bringing such a fatty dessert to the school function. You can break down in tears like last time. You can pummel her with the cake like you've done in your mind so many times. Or you can do what I did and pose as Nancy to the United States Navy and volunteer for field service. After all, no one would expect any less from a woman so determined to sign up and serve. You can take it all in stride knowing that next year, your desserts will be the talk of the town, while Nancy's stuck in a 50-foot sub with a dozen men 800 feet below the Sea of Japan. Keep your cool now and achieve freedom tomorrow. America thanks you.
There are a few things that can knock a man on his ass. Like when he tries to mount an ornery horse, or when a couple kids do that thing where one of them acts like a tabletop behind you while his shitheel friend distracts and pushes you over. But nothing bowls a man over more than when he realizes the woman he fell for was only using him in her overly convoluted spiderweb of a murder plot to kill her father. It's true. I became part of the statistic. But there was still time to catch her before this one metaphorically and physically flew out of my life forever.
Do you have any other bags?
No, I try to travel light.
That's good advice. Trust me, I should know. I'm famed pilot Amelia Earhart. I'm just going to finish fueling up and we'll be out of here.
Oh, thank God.
Are you sure he's on your side?
Harry, what are you doing here?
I came to see you off, as in off the plane, and on the ground, staying right where you are.
Give it up, Harry. You know I can't stay.
Why'd you do it, Wendy? That's all I want. I want to understand you.
She doesn't have to explain herself to you, Mr. Man.
Amelia Earhart, you were pronounced dead.
Just as planned. Now I can fly up and down and across the globe whenever I want, helping women out. I don't have to be anyone's hero or the face of any movement. I can just be a person flying because I like it. Is that okay with you, Harry?
Hey, more power to you. Let me just get out of your way so you can get to the fuel tanks.
That's all I ever wanted.
Harry, if I'm going to tell you everything I know, it feels more like a cafe conversation than a caught on the runway just before takeoff conversation.
How about that place 2 steps away from the plane?
Perfect. So, where should I begin?
I like to cut through the whole stack of hot cakes and eat a couple pieces at a time.
Efficient.
Thanks. Also, you ran me over.
I was terrified and in such a hurry, and it was so dark, and your bike was practically invisible. I don't like to use this phrase, but you really were asking for it. I mean, look at what you're wearing.
Are you kidding me? This all-black suit goes with everything. Maybe you shouldn't be all revved up and dead set on plowing a guy.
What can I say? Girls will be girls.
Why'd you kill Wendy? Why? You had such potential, such class. You've been to St. Louis.
Are you familiar with Occam's razor?
No, usually my barber shaves me, but I haven't made it out this week, so my facial hair is getting to be like the interior of a fabric shop. Stringy.
You know that cotton killed the sailor, right?
He said he didn't, but anything coming out of that shitbag's mouth doesn't mean squat.
Cotton's been trying to quiet union talks for months. That vulgarian was the loudest of them all. You take him out, the rest will fall in line. I can't prove it, but it tracks.
So who killed your father? Was it you?
Harry, please. You know my father didn't actually own the harbor or have a dime to his name. Why would I kill him?
Because, to see if you could?
You're really grasping at straws, aren't you?
Sorry, I haven't had my evening bourbon yet.
No, my father was killed by the one person who stood to gain the most from his death. The one man with a finger in all the pies, pulling all the strings. George Puck.
The chief of police? That's a bold accusation, darling. Puck said the only gripe he had with your old man was his men chumming the waters.
Harry, you can't be so naive. The police force has been systematically dumping textile waste in the harbor for months.
How could you know that?
Because I followed them. And I found this thank you note from the textile mill, mistakenly addressed to my father.
Dear Chief, thanks for taking all this toxic waste off our hands and dumping it in the ocean. We're confident this arrangement will work out swimmingly, no pun intended, for years to come. Please enjoy the hefty bribe enclosed. Yours, the Shady Textile Corporation. My God, she was right. The chief of police lied to me in the name of protecting corporate greed. I should have seen this coming, given my natural distrust of any municipal official, but I suppose I too got caught up in the wonder of sticking my own head in the jaws of the great fish. I could use that as a Christmas card for decades. But no, Puck was killing good men, polluting the clear waters of our city, and poisoning innocent people. I would have to use the same shot of me arresting St. Nick with his pants down from Nickel Night Wednesday at the Peep Show. But in the meantime, it appeared Wendy had more to say.
Daddy was going to go public about it, so Puck had him killed. After you left last night, one of his squad cars rolled up to my apartment. They broke in, and I knew they were coming for me, so I ran before they could pin it all on me. Classic case of the killer heiress going after Daddy's money.
You knew they were going to kill him?
I tried to warn him several times, Harry. I begged him and wrote him a note every day. Dad, you'll get out now if you know what's good for you. But he wouldn't back down, and now it's too late.
I didn't know what to say, so I told the truth, the most truth. I'm so sorry, Wendy. We'll get you out of here.
I'm just glad someone finally knows the truth.
If you wanted me to know, then why'd you try to kill when I was hot on the trail?
Harry, you won't believe me, but that was a genuine mistake. But I was so scared and rushed to finally make off I couldn't stop. Certainly not outside Cotton's casino. No, the only things I'm guilty of are a hit and run and poor vision.
Well, Wendy, looks like we're gonna have to get you some night driving glasses.
All right, Wendy, we're all ready to go.
Thanks, Amelia.
Where to now, then?
Nowhere. Everywhere. Somewhere I'll be free.
I can't remotely imagine that in our day and age, but maybe you can find an uninhabited island or one of those missionary camps or something.
Harry, I'd be remiss if I didn't at least say I'm sorry. I truly don't think you're a sap, even if I played you for one.
I'll never be sorry for meeting you. Ms. Earhart, I hope we never find you.
You're too kind.
Goodbye, Harry.
Goodbye, Wendy. And that's all she wrote. I don't know if I'd call it a happy ending or a weepy ending, but it certainly is an ending. If there's any justice in this world, I'll see to it that Silas Cotton and George Puck get their just desserts. And not the sweet kind, the bitter kind. Like a mint-fused, dark chocolate, black cherry tart. That actually sounds good. Maybe like a molasses rhubarb. You get the idea. Until then, the only thing left to do was to get loaded and try to sleep another one off.
Wow, what a show. I loved it all, but what do I know? I'm just the creator, Mark Bauer. Let's ask the experts. What did you think, Bryan Cranston?
That is just perfect!
Whoa, high praise. What about you, Colin Farrell?
Well, that's just fucking great!
Why, I'm blushing.
That is one big pile of shit.
That's not very nice, Jeff Goldblum.
Help me. Help me be human.
Maybe some other time. I want to give a huge thanks to the cast. I couldn't ask for a better ensemble. The fact that anyone is voluntarily working with me on something that I wrote is always humbling and amazing. Thank you so much for giving it your all. I hope you enjoyed working on it as much as I did. Will Detective Daly return? Only time will tell. Until then, good night. I love you.